Alright, today we're gonna put these valve cover gaskets, I got the rubber type instead of the cork, onto this car. So, there's quite a bit of stuff in the way. It's just like hose stuff. And maybe if these hoses were all new, I could just bend the hoses and manipulate them out of the way, but any kind of hose I touch is just gonna break, and these hoses probably need to be replaced anyways. So I'm gonna try to do this carefully and salvage whatever I can, but expecting some broken parts and rubber lines at the end of this. So I'm gonna start on this side. This side seems a little easier. Both valve covers only have 4 bolts, super easy to get to them, but I got this hose stuff in the way. So I'm gonna try and bolt in this bracket and see what I can wiggle out of the way. Alright, shined up this looks like the alternator. I don't know if it is an alternator or not, but shine it up a little. Then we had our first casualty right here. This hose just split in half. I didn't even notice. It's just so brittle. That's how a lot of these rubber hoses are going to be, unfortunately. But it's just what it is. That's what happens to rubber. I got the PCV disconnected. So these hoses go down, we'll follow it, and then it's into like this emissions canister, kind of like a purge canister or something like that, but it's all gas lines and just vapor lines, so just new rubber lines will take care of that. Luckily rubber lines aren't actually that expensive, they're pretty cheap. So alright, I'm just gonna unbolt the valve cover and then I'm gonna try to lift it up and see what stops me. Maybe I can get around this, maybe I have to unbolt it, we'll see. Alright, driver's side valve cover is off. So this side's all oiled up because this is the one that I pour oil into. You can see at the bottom where the gas is just soaked and it was just failed and leaking. It was actually split at the top. Some of it stuck to the valve cover, some's on the block. It's definitely more wet around the areas where it's stuck to the valve cover, so I think we made the right call on this one. It's good to do anyways. So now I just gotta clean this up and get ready to put the new gasket on. Check the rockers, but it should be all good. This car sounded really good. That one's a little loose. That one might be. That might make some noise. Ooh. Yeah, this one's pretty loose, but it could just be the stroke the engine's on, or just the lifter needs to be pumped more. I don't really think it's anything to worry about. I was cleaning this valve cover up. This is the driver's side, and I'm just gonna make the decision to paint this. I'll paint it a nice black color that has the properties to withstand engine heat. So let's work on this passenger side. And this one looks like it has quite a few more things in the way. I'm gonna start with disconnecting this. It looks like this is actually leaking. I'm not sure what this is. So I'm just gonna take it off and just for now work on the valve cover, one thing at a time. So this is the passenger side off. I ended up taking the connector thing for the smog pump, got that off. Was able to leave on whatever this is. So it barely got out. It's gonna be a struggle to put back in, but it's possible to do with taking very minimal stuff out and out of the way. But this side, I mean, there's clearly oil in here. And I ran this car yesterday for like a second, twice. And there's already oil in here, so this makes me kind of think this car wasn't sitting for 20 years without being started at all. I think someone came by and just fired it up at one point within the 20 years just to make sure that the engine wasn't seized or anything, because There's definitely oil. I mean, not all of them have oil, but some of them definitely have oil. Pretty interesting. After some sanding and some paint, we have the valve covers painted. I painted them a glossy black. Let me show you the paint. Oh, this is the clear. Here it is. It's this engine enamel. I've actually had this left over from another car that I painted valve covers on. So 1 can was enough to do 4 valve covers. Sounds pretty bad on my camera, but yeah, it came out pretty good. I mean, it's not perfect. Just this side's actually really good. But I mean, for this workspace I'm in, I think it came out pretty decent. So on these cars, the L82s, the fins are supposed to be a aluminum, like a bare aluminum color, not painted. So I'm gonna sand these off. They're dry to the touch now. It's been sitting for a while. So I'm gonna sand off the fins and it should look good. Valve covers are all done. They look pretty good. It's a shame this hose is all rusty still. I don't even know if it's worth spraying it black. I mean, I know this is supposed to come out, just it doesn't want to come out, so. But yeah, I'm gonna install them now. I know, I think it was the passenger side had a ground on it, so I'll have to do that. All right, here's the driver's side. Looks all clean in there. Got everything hooked up, even painted this. I'll go to the passenger side. Yeah, it totally just changed how this looks. So next thing in the engine bay is, once the rebuild kit comes for the carburetor, I'm gonna take that apart, get it cleaned. I'm gonna paint it sort of an aluminum color. That's the plan, at least. And yeah, I would really like to take the intake manifold off and paint that, but that involves removing the distributor, and I don't know. I'm kind of on a time crunch, so probably not going to end up doing that. But at least the carburetor, getting that painted, that will look good. Oh, I'll connect this to the EGR. All right, everything's all good. Also, in the morning, got to go get this hose replaced. On the underside of this, it's pretty bad. It's really bad. Just gonna see what hose it is, what size it is, and just pick up a new fuel line, because it's something for the vapor canister.